ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here for the Catawba Football Coaches Show. Whether you're here in person listening on WSAT Memories Radio or on the Catawba YouTube channel, welcome to the Catawba Football Coaches Show. Thanks to City Tavern again for being our host tonight. And as usual, we're here with Coach Tyler Haynes. We'll have a couple players. We're also going to talk to women's basketball coach Terrence McCutcheon and a couple of his players as we get set for Bear Week here at Catawba as we take on the Lenore Ryan this week. And Coach, you have some shout-outs to get out of the way as well.
Absolutely. First off, I'd like to thank President Nelson and his family. I'd like to thank the Graham family for sponsoring this show. Would like to thank Michelle Cadigan and our entire athletic department. I would like to thank the Dees family, Maddox, and everyone in the development office. I'd like to give a special shout-out to my family who made it down from Ohio. I have my mother-in-law, Pammy, here. I have my sister-in-law, Kelly, here. I have my 4 nephews, Lakin, Knox, Finley, and Major, all down from Ohio here to see us in North Carolina for Rivalry Week. And most importantly, want to thank everyone out there, friends, family, listening to us. Great crowd tonight for Rivalry Week. We're looking forward to getting after them this weekend.
Coach, the first question with your family coming down, did they bring some of that luck with them? Because it seems like your brother, coaching the Indiana Hoosiers this year, has used up all the luck in the Haynes family this year.
Not all of it. We got some stored up for us for this weekend.
Okay. So first, let's talk about this past weekend's game against the Barton Bulldogs. Again, right there in the ball game throughout the game, but injuries. Big story of the game. No LJ Turner in the game. We find out before the game Hunter Shepard's not going to be at quarterback, and you start a freshman at quarterback. The secondary, you're mixing players in there due to some injury concerns. And I think as the game went on, the wide receiver list got depleted a little bit. So injuries have really raised their head this year. What do you think is a big part of that?
The first thing I'd say is they're all in-game injuries. I think we play in a really, really tough conference. We don't get a bye week. You see Division I teams get 1 bye week, 2 bye weeks. Now it's not exclusive to us. These other teams in our conference have to go through this as well. Every single game is a 1-score game, it feels like. So you're playing 4 quarters, a war. Now, when I was at Shepherd 3 years ago, we were a Final Four team. Part of why we were so healthy is there were some games where we're beating somebody 42-0, and we're out of the third quarter. We're not grinding out every single game. So some of it is just bad luck. Some of it is playing really tough teams, and some of it is that's just part of the football is always going to be a physical game. Next guy up mentality. I'm proud of our young guys for stepping in and carrying that torch. It hasn't been perfect, but this will pay off dividends in the future. These guys are going to have experience in tough situations. We're not going to have to go through these growing pains in the future.
Coach, speaking of grinding it out, in the second quarter, your team put together 2 nice touchdown drives, 5 plays, 69 yards, and 8 plays, 92 yards to take a 14-7 lead. Things really looked like they were going your way at that point. What was really working well at that point?
I think Coach Shopcheck does a great job mixing up his calls. We're still trying to find our identity. We know who we are on offense, but because of the injuries, you start with Preston Brown, who can really, really throw it, and we know that. We got Bo Pryor, you got all these weapons. Those guys go down, so now we have LJ Turner, who's really, really special at what he does, leading the nation and rushing, but he goes down. So you're almost like trying to figure out in the game who you are. Really proud of Mason, who's going to be speaking to us later, for settling down, and Coach Shopcheck made some really good calls to put those guys in good situations.
Speaking of great calls, then in the third quarter, 4 plays, 66 yards for a touchdown, 4 plays, 70 yards in the fourth quarter, and then 8 plays, 60 yards. Particularly the passes down the seam to Kobe Christian really were some big plays that got your offense going to keep you in that ballgame.
Yeah, they were. They were very aggressive on defense. Again, a credit to our offensive staff and the guys that were calling those plays, and Mason and Kobe. They wanted to play us blitz man coverage. You do that, you have to have the ability to throw the ball down the field, and we were able to do so.
So let's talk. It was just really a 6-minute stretch in the ballgame. They hit a big pass play on you to tie the game. You had a turnover against your team. They took it 27 yards for the go-ahead score. Then they got a pick 6 to start the second half. But the rest of the game, it was all even. You just never know when that unfortunate part's going to come in the game. The deciding part of the game is going to be.
Yep, 66% of the time, the team that wins the turnover battle wins the game. So if you don't look at anything else other than turnovers, we turned the ball over 3 times on offense. One of which was a pick 6, one of which was a tip pass that fluttered in the air, 20 feet in the air, and another one was just a fluke fumble where the guy just dropped the ball, which you can't do, and we created 1 turnover on defense. So 3-1, you're probably going to lose the game, and there's a bunch of stuff in between there. We had our opportunities, but you got to win the turnover battle.
One thing I want to ask you about strategy-wise, your team comes back, you're down 7 points with a little bit over 2 minutes to go. You're going to have the 2-minute timeout. You have all 3 of your timeouts remaining.
Yep.
You opt for the onside kick at that point.
Yep.
And I think I know why, because you're trying to win a game. You're not going to kick it away, hope you can stop them and get the ball back and try to win. You're trying to make a play to put your team in a position to win the game at that point. But what was the thinking amongst your coaches on the sidelines at that point?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer call. I mean, we're down by 6. We do have 3 timeouts left. I think you give yourself 2 opportunities. Number one, you get the onside kick, which he did juggle, and we had a chance. We didn't get it. We did stop him, and we used our 3 timeouts, and we got the ball back. So would not change that for 1 second. If it was 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, that would have been a harder decision. But right over 2 minutes with 3 timeouts, they get 1 first down, the game's over. So that was a no-brainer for us.
And then people just looking at the final scores, they'll say, well, we lost to Wingate by 9, we lost to Barton by 14. But the last 2 touchdowns in each game, you're trying to steal the ball against Wingate, and the guy breaks it for a touchdown. They break a run on an all-out run blitz to get their final touchdown. It's kind of the equivalent of pulling the goalie in hockey. You're just going all out, pulling out all the stops to try to win the game. So you can't really look at that final number. The process and how the game is going is really great. Just that final result doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean, we're a changing team. You look at the Wingate game, and they were going to be number 1 in the region. They're going to be, a top 5 team in the country at some point, really good team. We lost our All-American tailback, was second in the nation in rushing, to a broken foot. You can't really adjust to that. You can't really have it. So we were not the same team against Wingate that we were against Barton. We're still Catawba College. We're still representing our friends, our families. This program, we gave our heart and souls. It was not enough. We did not play our best game by any stretch. And that's got to change, and that's on me. But I'm still proud of our guys.
Speaking of which, proud of people, Mason Fortune stepped in, a freshman quarterback, 348 yards passing. He looked really poised and really confident out there at quarterback. What can you say about his performance?
True freshman. Didn't get a single rep through most of camp because he was 3rd or 4th on the depth chart. And we talk about all the time, you never know when your time's going to come. Now, I'll say this about Mason. He's a proven winner, I think. He's going to correct me on this. I think he's the 6th all-time leading passer in North Carolina high school history. So when he steps on the field, the first thing I notice is it's not too big for him. He's not like starry-eyed 18-year-old freshman. No, he's going out there to win. He's executing at a high level, and we look forward to seeing him these next couple weeks really, really grow.
Okay, so we'll get you back up here to talk about the LR Bears at the end of the show, but we'll bring up Queese Williams, who had a big day, and also young freshman Mason Fortune, who had that big game. And we'll talk about some of those numbers as well. But first, before we get that underway, we always have trivia. And you have your boards, magic markers. Queese Williams, coming off his big performance, he's got 981 yards rushing in his career. He needs 19 yards to reach that 1,000 career rushing mark. How many rushers in Catawba history to this point have reached 1,000 yards in their career? That's the answer you need on your board for the trivia question. So again, how many rushers to this point in Catawba history have gained over 1,000 yards in their career? So, Queese, we'll start with you. Yeah. Big game against Barton.
Yes, sir.
Only 41 yards on the ground, but 3 big touchdown runs. Yeah. And you also had 7 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown reception.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that second quarter run to cap the 92-yard drive. You're at the 15-yard line. You get the handoff. You bounce off a tackler. You spin away from a defender. You whirl and stretch into the end zone. That was a lot of things happening on that 15-yard run.
Yeah. Well, pressing the run, I mean, I made my read a little late. Well, I pressed the point late, so after that, I bounced it. As I was bouncing, I seen the nickel flowing out, so I just stuck my foot in the ground, trust my ability to make a man miss, spin off a few guys, and got in the end zone.
Now, you missed a couple games this season due to a little injury. What was that injury, and how are you now?
I had a neck injury. I didn't really know what it was. I got an X-ray. I got an MRI as well. They were just telling me to treat it like a hamstring. It was rough for it was rough 2 weeks. It was also rough Barton week 2. I was going through a little bit of adversity, but I just had to let it go, stay positive, give it all to God, trust myself, trust him, and, I just went out and balled.
Now, 4 touchdowns in a game. I'm gonna kind of think you're Mr. Touchdown here for Catawba. In your career, you have 16 touchdowns to this point. In your career, you had 8 to lead the team last season. You also have 5 receiving touchdowns. When you get to the red zone, you just have it in your brain that that's my time.
I got to score in the red zone. That's how I feel like it always got to be. It don't matter whether it's on the ground or in the air. I feel like I got the ability to catch the ball so we can pass it. I feel like I can score off the catch. I feel like I can score off the run. So when we get in the red zone, I feel like that's all. I also trust our offense. So all in the red zone, our offensive efficiency in the red zone is also great. So I trust the team every time. I trust the QB every time. Even if we go to the 100th QB, I'm going to still trust the offense because we got it in. The coaches got it in for us, and it's going to work every time. That's how I just feel about it.
Okay, Mason, let's talk about your performance this week. 28 of 45 passing, 348 yards and a touchdown. As Coach mentioned, you had a pretty fantastic high school career playing for Millbrook High School in Raleigh. Not sure where you rank in the all-time stats, but over 10,000 career passing yards in your high school career, 106 touchdown passes. So like you said, it's not too big when you step out on the field. It's just a football game, right? Is that the way you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to trust everybody that's around you. And I had a bunch of veterans around me and took me under their wing. So in the end, you just got to get in the ball and let them do what they do. So, yeah.
Now, when did you find out that you were going to be the starting quarterback for the Barton game?
Probably after practice on Wednesday, because Coach gave me a text. He said, it's time to step up. So that's when I knew.
So what was that like in practice then on Thursday and Friday to get ready for the game? A little more intense?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it was a little bit more intense than it had been, just because I was usually just learning, taking mental reps on the side, but then I actually got to step up there and take some physical reps. So.
Now, when you got out on the field, you're facing that Barton defense. What was the biggest challenge facing a college defense compared to a high school defense?
They are a lot more faster than high school, so I had to adapt to that, and because they move a lot more than college than high school. So the one thing they'll set up in is not going to be when the play starts. So I had to adapt to that.
And did they show you anything? Did you get any looks from them that you weren't expecting?
No, not really. I mean, sometimes they were in the wrong spot at the wrong time. So yeah.
So that's when you were able to take advantage then. When they were in the wrong spot, you knew what was going to work.
Exactly.
And when the call comes in, particularly those routes to Kobe Christian, you just kind of laid that pass out there nicely, and he made some nice catches. How much confidence does that give you when you have a receiver like Kobe Christian?
It gives me a bunch of confidence. I mean, I have somebody I know that can go up and get the football, so it just helps me a bunch to know I can trust him.
Okay, and as always, we talk to everybody about how did you end up coming to Catawba College. So, Queese, you're from Columbia, South Carolina. How did you end up coming to Catawba College?
School. You see me? My senior year of high school, I was recruited by Catawba. I was only recruited by 3 schools, Presbyterian, Bluefield State, and Catawba College. I got recruited by the old coaching staff, Coach Walker and Coach Sands and them. So, I came up on a visit. They told me I was on a full ride, so I just took the opportunity and played football. Came up to Catawba, played some football.
And then what are you majoring in, and what are you planning to do for the future?
Exercise science, and I want to be an athletic trainer. Yep.
Okay, well, you're getting some experience with, unfortunately, with the injuries, you're spending some time in that training room, so you know what that's about then.
Yeah.
And Mason, how did you end up making a decision to come to Catawba College to play football?
Well, it was kind of like a last-minute decision, to be honest. So after the season, I had to wait a little bit. I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go. I had a couple of offers, but I really wanted to come to Catawba just because Catawba felt like home, felt like family to me. Coaches were very friendly. Yeah.
And I noticed that you also played baseball at Millbrook. Had a pretty good batting average, especially your junior year.
Yes, sir.
Any plans for baseball in the future, possibly, or strictly focusing on playing quarterback?
I mean, I'd love to play baseball here too, but right now I'm focused on football.
And what are you majoring in, and what are you planning for the future?
Sports marketing, and I want to be a broadcaster.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, I can tell you that. So,
yes, sir.
I think you'll be pretty good at it if that's the avenue you end up going down.
Thank you.
So great performances last week from you two guys, so we're expecting some big performances again this week against those Lenore Ryan Bears.
Of course.
So let's transition now. Thanks for joining us, Queese Williams and Mason Fortune. And now we're going to transition because we got another sport tipping off here this season as we transition to November. It's basketball season, so the men tip off tomorrow night with a home game against Lander, and the women tip off at an event up in Greenville, Tennessee, up at Tusculum. They take on number 24 Columbus State, and then Lees McRae on Sunday. So let's welcome Coach Terrence McCutcheon. Coach, glad to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
Coach McCutcheon starting his 5th full season as the Catawba head coach. And Coach, I look at the numbers from the last 3 seasons, 76-19 over that stretch, including a run to the Final Four, and then last year to the regional semifinals. But the first question I have for you, when you started practice for this season, you get the players assembled and you look out there, there's no Lyric Thorne, there's no Janiah Downs, and no Sarah McIntosh in a practice uniform. What were you thinking at that point?
Well, we kind of knew it was coming, but it was a little weird at first. You know, I've had those players for 5 years, and you get kind of accustomed to playing a certain way. And that first practice, when I look out there and I don't have those players, it's a little bit of a, I ain't gonna say a wake-up call, but just reality check that, hey, things are changing. But listen, we look forward to it. Those players knew that they were only going to be here for a certain amount of time, and they did everything that they could to leave their legacy and leave their mark. They did a great job at that, and so they don't have anything to worry about. But now, you know, we have to turn the page and get this group ready, and they're ready to go.
So speaking of turning the page, 3 key returners that saw plenty of playing time for you last year. Nala Baker, who improved as much as I've seen anybody improve from one season to the next last season. Jada Porter, it's probably her time to step up and be a little more involved in the offense. And Mary Spry, who really gives you some of the same things that Sarah McIntosh gave you inside, along with, I don't want to leave out Janiyah Foskey. I think she's a key returner for your team as well. But talk about those players and what you expect out of them this season.
Yeah, those players come back with some experience. They have some time on the floor, and we want to pull from that early on. So Nala Baker in year number 2, usually in year number 2, players make a jump in our system. The understanding what we do, we play fast. So you saw that last year, and this year number 3 for her. So we're looking for her to take the next step. Jada Porter, you know, she's probably got the most starts of anybody returning. And we're looking forward to her just to bring that experience of just knowing how to get ready for a game and how to compete. So I think she's going to do that, and she's getting ready. Mary Spry as well, giving us a presence down low that we can throw the ball to, but she'll be good there. And then Janiyah Foskey, who I think has the ability to be a really good player, has a lot of ability, and this is an opportunity for her to step up and get it going. So we have some areas that we have to step into as individuals, but I'm excited about this group. They're working hard every day, getting ready for the challenge.
Speaking of some players that you're probably excited about, some role players from last year that are probably going to step into some big roles. 2 of them are going to be here and up here in just a few minutes. Kyra Dixon Booker and Maisie Helpman. They're really intense out there on the floor and really hustle and get after it out there. And Brooklyn Ingram, I think she's going to be a surprise, maybe not to you, but to other people, maybe a surprise in the scoring column. She's a pretty smooth player.
Yeah, for sure. Maisie and Kyra, 2 players that work really hard. They've gotten ready for this opportunity that's in front of them. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them grow as the year continues and giving them opportunities to kind of step into their role. And Brooklyn Ingram is also a player that she has some good ability scoring the ball, and if she can get going, that adds another element and depth to what we do. So we have a lot of players this year that I think will have the opportunity to step into a new role, and it's exciting to get ready for that.
And of course, you always look at the new recruits coming in. You got Bailey Goodlett out of North Rowan High School. Now, I don't know what other people think, but I think she's as quick on the dribble getting down the floor as anybody I've ever seen with the basketball. Julie Janis, who played on a winning program at AC Reynolds, and she's a really good player, outstanding player. And Cherie Gidney from Hickory Ridge. You brought in 3 outstanding players from some winning programs, and that has to be a factor.
Yeah, that is, and I'm really excited about our future because those 3 freshmen coming in, they have picked up the work ethic that we have here at Catawba. They come in, they've done that without a hiccup, so to speak. Bailey is super fast, like you said. The other day in practice, she was dribbling up the floor and she just sped by everybody, and I kind of looked over at my assistant coach Sarah and like, okay, this is different. So she definitely has that burst. As she get more accustomed to this level of competition, she's going to be a really good player. And Julie Janis and Cherie Gidney, like you said, coming from winning programs, they just understand what it takes to be a part of a winner. That's going to help us, but I'm really looking forward to them as well.
And one other new player that I believe transferred in from New Orleans University, Amani Williams. What can we expect to see from her?
Yeah, Amani right now, she's definitely she can play. She was a player that I recruited out of high school, but she decided to go Division I for a couple of years. But she's learning what we do right now. So the pace of how we play, the speed of it, she's trying to get accustomed to that. But once she's been picking up here the last few practices where I'm starting to see the carryover, and I'm like, okay, she's going to be really good. So I think with her is just kind of knowing the type of player she is, going against all that Division I experience, those teams that she played against, and just coming in with with the confidence of knowing who she is as a player. We need that this year.
And you mentioned your new assistant, Sarah McIntosh. What's she like in her role now as an assistant coach? I think she kind of taught some of the younger players throughout her career, so probably a natural fit for her to step in there.
Yeah, coaching is it's fun to watch Sarah, as a coach. She's such an intense player. Like if you ever watched her play, she's so intense. So now she's in a coaching seat, and sometimes she's finding her way and trying to figure out how to communicate those things because she can't go out there on the court and actually do it right now. But she's great at what she does. She's very prepared, hard worker. All that hard work that she had as a player is carrying over as assistant coach. So I think she's just going to get better and better as she gets more accustomed to coaching.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us. We'll get some of your intense players up here, and good luck this weekend against Columbus State and Lees-McRae up there in Greenville, Tennessee.
Thank you.
So now let's get a couple of those players that are going to be featured in key roles this season. We have guard Maisie Helpman and forward Kyra Dixon Booker joining us on the show this week. So Maisie right here beside me, Kyra Dixon Booker on the end. And Maisie, let's start with you. You're from Bryson City, North Carolina, out there in Swain County.
Yes, sir.
First of all, everybody okay from the hurricane aftermath out there?
Yeah, so Swain County didn't end up getting hit as bad, and didn't end up getting hit as bad as other areas, but everyone is doing good, recovering well. Our community came together really well. So, yeah.
Now, I see you looking back on your info. You were a 5-sport athlete in high school, played volleyball, basketball, ran track, softball, and soccer. You were all-state in both basketball and soccer. So how did you end up picking basketball for your college career?
Yeah, so whenever I started playing basketball my freshman year, I was on varsity, and I just fell in love with it from there. I became the leading scorer right away. I filled in the role. I played every game, and I just really loved it, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. AAU definitely is what got me to college, though. My AAU coaches, Team Carolina out of Asheville, I was driving an hour and a half to practices twice a week all throughout my high school career. So I just knew that that's something I wanted to stay committed to.
Now, when I watch you out there on the court, if I was going to give a hustle award to anybody on the team, I would give it to you because you are in constant motion out there on the court, both offensively and defensively. You really get after it on defense, and you're always in the right position, it seems like. And on offense, whether you're filling the wing on the fast break, whether you're spotting up for a three-point shot, you seem to be in the right place there. And you had some games last year, you had a run where you scored in 6-game streak, you had 21 points. You could have had many more. Just a shot wouldn't fall or a layup would fall off the rim. You had a tough break scoring-wise.
Right.
But you really get after it out there on the court. Is that how you earned your playing time by
yeah,
hustling
for
so
sure.
much?
Definitely like a role player. You know, not everyone's going to get out there and have a 10-point-plus game, you know, so I knew that if scoring wasn't going to be my strong suit, then every other category I had to fill in, whether that's hustle, rebounds, defense, just going out there playing hard, being encouraging to my teammates, always sprinting, always knowing where to be, don't turn the ball over, so just the little things for sure.
And Kyra, let's turn over to you now. You're from Camden, South Carolina, and you didn't score a lot of points last year, but if I give her the hustle award, I'm giving you the intensity award because you always have the game face on, and when that ball is up for grabs on the rebound, you have it in your brain. Your mentality is, I own this basketball, and nobody's getting that basketball away from you. Where did you get that intensity?
I just always been like that since high school. Well, since I've been playing basketball, honestly. I guess you could say I got it from my dad. You know, he played pro ball and he played college ball, so it's just a thing, just watching him do what he do, and it's just like I'm following after you, so it's like I'm just gonna go out there and be a dog just like you.
And for those who don't know, her dad, Trevor Booker, played at Clemson. He was an all-ACC player as a senior. He played 8 years in the NBA. So did he work with you a lot throughout your development to get you to be the type of player you are?
Yeah, just like any dad. He's just out there just trying to pour everything that he has in him into me. So I just take everything that he's taught me and just put it all on the floor.
And when you transitioned from high school basketball to college basketball, what was the biggest change for you? What did you have to really, what surprised you, and what did you have to really work on to improve your game?
Probably, I say the strength. Like girls in college are strong, so it wasn't, I'll never back down from a fight, but just they were strong, so I had to just, be up a little bit more and just be ready for it. And also, like, just being ready to play a role. Just, like she said, it was limited time. So when you got your time, go out there and just do the little things. And get
You
the
heard
job
it right
done.
there. She's not going to back down from a fight. So the players from the other team have been warned because she's going to get after him. So now let's talk about what do you expect from your team in this upcoming season? Who do you think is really going to be a breakout player for your team? And if you think it's going to be you, that's okay to say that.
Honestly, it could be anybody. We have a lot of people, a lot of new people, returners. They're all just could go after it, honestly. So anybody, any given night can just go out there and have a good night.
Maisie, how about you? Anybody going to surprise us this year?
Who are talented and hardworking and success-driven and hungry. We come to practice every day and we compete, and that's just how we all are. We are in the gym on our own time, getting shots up, putting work in with each other. Kyra and I have been filling a role as a post player because we're a small guard team this year, after losing Sarah. But we've been able to fill that role in well. We're a strong team, so I definitely think any of us have the opportunity to fill in.
All right, so thanks for joining us on the Coaches Show this week, and best of luck to you this weekend and throughout the season.
Thank you.
Maisie Helpman and Kyra Dixon Booker. Watch for those girls out on the court. They're be a pleasure to watch. Now let's get Coach Haynes back up here to wrap things up, and let's talk about the upcoming game against the LR Bears. Coach, the first thing I want to talk about, last year's game, you fell behind, but you really gave them all they could handle. You had the ball down there in scoring territory plenty of times, just couldn't cash in, but you really gave the Bears all they could handle last year, and I think your team's ready for the fight again this year.
Yeah, real quick, a good friend of mine, Mike Casey, who I think's traveling to Italy right now, but we have a QR code right now. If you're watching on YouTube, we'd love for you to click on that link, on that QR code. We really appreciate all the support of all our friends and family out there, week in and week out. Thank you for doing that. We don't like to look back a whole lot. Last year's game, though, from the part that I remember, again, we did watch the film, but it was a war. It was a battle at their place. LR's a good football team. They had a staff change, so they have a different identity on both offense and defense. They're a different team, different plays, different schemes, and quite a few different football players. They're all really good, and they're a really good football team, but it'll be another war, I'm sure of it.
You mentioned that a good team. Their new coach won an NAIA championship last year at Kaiser University down in Florida. He brought 7 of his players with him to the team. So you said maybe a new identity, but one thing those Bears are going to have a big, strong offensive line. They're going to try to run the ball right down your throat.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to try that. They actually try to throw the ball a lot. Jalen Ferguson, their quarterback, who was their quarterback last year, went in the portal, I believe, and they end up staying. But he is one of the best quarterbacks in the Southeast region. So, yes, they're big and physical up front. They will try to run the ball. Their identity is actually drop back throwing the ball, though.
And he is kind of a dual threat. He'll take off and run if he has to, right?
Yeah, he will if he has to. They don't do a lot of design runs for him for the obvious reason. They don't want to get him hurt and get a different quarterback in there. They're trying to protect him. So he had a real long draw play, quarterback draw, run play against Wingate that was a big touchdown for him. But most of the time he's going to drop back and throw the ball. He gets it out of his hand really quick. He is athletic enough to move the pocket. There's not a lot of designed runs for him, though.
Now this series with Lenore Ryan, this is the 103rd meeting. The series is dead even. 49 wins for Catawba, 49 for LR, and 4 ties in the series. So it's going to be pretty intense amongst the fans out there. So you're going to want to give a big performance for all the fans.
Yeah, 50 for Catawba sounds pretty good. We'll take that. So our guys are ready to go. We have a morning practice, 6 a.m. We call it Fast and Furious, where we just go out there, we sweat a little bit, put all the final touches on everything, and I expect us to be 100% locked in tomorrow morning, relax throughout the rest of the evening tomorrow, wake up Saturday, ready to beat them.
By the way, for your trivia answer, Queese Williams, if he gets over 1,000 yards, he needs 19 yards. He will become the 43rd rusher. So right now there are 42. 42 is the correct answer because it includes L.J. Turner, who reached that earlier in the season. So another quick show, and Coach, we'll be back again next week for the final time, but go ahead and take us out like usual.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening online. Thank you so much for everybody in attendance. We look forward to this game. We've had a great season, hasn't gone exactly the way we want. We are proud to be a part of this family, proud to be a part of Salisbury, and proud of Catawba football. So thank you all so much. Got a Cat U on 3. 1, 2, 3, Cat U. Thank you all so much.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us. Be back next week for the final coaches show of the season. By the way, for you in attendance, I forgot to say it, but we want to thank Kevin Lickman, part of the audio crew. He's responsible for getting it on YouTube, the new sound system this year. Give him a congratulations. He gets married on Sunday.